Okay, just a quick look at the anatomy. What we mostly see in pets is in the anterior chamber. So here's the cornea and the lens, and the iris is the colored part. And most problems will happen between the lens and the outside. A little more friendly view, which is what you will see, is here. And I'm not going to talk a lot about this stuff because you're going to have the recording and you'll be able to go back and look at the pictures. Cat, please don't do that. The cat is mischievous today. But these are the structures that are involved in most of the problems that we see. One thing that's really important to remember is that eyes are incredibly sensitive and practically everything hurts. So, if you get a little speck or a little something rather in your eye, it just kills you. An eyelash is like having somebody draw a sword across your eye. The cornea is 500 times more sensitive than skin. It's the most innervated tissue in the body. And so when you have an eye problem, the first thing you got to think is this painful? Because that will make a difference on how you approach it. Cleaning the eyes, for most animals, you're not going to have to do this very often. I've had a lot of cats with eye boogies, that little sand that gets, and you can just, chip that off with your finger. But if you need to do something more, then you want to use something clean. Those makeup remover cotton balls are really good for this. Cool water for inflammation, lukewarm water for everything else. Be gentle, just you can use water, saline. In the next slide, I'll show you how to make that. Eye bright, there are other herbs that work. So that's where you want to start with, just keeping the eyes clean. Just good maintenance is always a great thing to do. So here's the recipe for eye wash. Just at least make it fresh every day, if not twice a day. If it's sitting on the counter or something, make sure there's nothing gooky in it. I use tap water. If your but I live in the mountains. I have beautiful, pure water. So if your water is something questionable, then use distilled or bottled or something like that. So different eye problems fall into just a few categories. So redness is one of the most common things you're going to see. And the first thing you got to ask yourself is on the outside of the eye or on the inside of the eye. Most things are going to be on the outside. If it's on the inside, that's a little more serious. But things on the outside can also be very painful and irritating. So, you never want to let eye stuff go. External redness, this is just looks horrible, and this dog has not been drinking, but this is scleritis or episcleritis. The sclera is the white part of the eye. This is blepharitis. Now, isn't that a great word to know? Blepharitis means inflammation of the eyelids. And this is conjunctivitis in a kitty. Very, very, very common. They're all uncomfortable, but they're not usually an emergency. So at least you can stop and take a breath and focus. Dog conjunctivitis is different from cat conjunctivitis. In dogs, it's frequently due to dry eye, and the official name for dry eye is keratoconjunctivitis syndrome, KCS. You can get allergic eyes, but dogs don't get hay fever like people do. They don't get the itchy, weepy eyes the same way that we do. But if they have allergies that affect the skin, that can also affect the eye. As we saw in the other pictures, eyelash and eyelid disorders can cause a lot of redness. You want to do saline rinses, you want to do cool compresses, but of course, if you're going to put something on the eye, you never want to push. Lysine may work, may work in dogs. I haven't tried it in dogs. Works great in cats, so let's go to cats. Because cats very commonly get conjunctivitis. It could be one or both eyes, and this is what you're going to see. Your cat's going to walk into the kitchen going. 90% or more of these are caused by herpes virus. Now, herpes in cats is incredibly common. They all have it. Virtually all cats have it. And if they didn't have it to begin with, they get it from their mother or they get it from other cats in the area. If they didn't have it already, we give it to them when we give them the rhinotracheitis vaccine. Rhinotracheitis is the politically correct word for herpes in cats. There can also be a secondary bacterial infection. That's pretty rare. It's very irritating. They'll often have a discharge, either watery or even tending towards pus, but water and mucus for sure. And they are very sensitive to light, which is called photophobia. Again, saline rinses, cool compresses, and lysine. There was a study that proved that lysine doesn't work. But in the tens of thousands of cats I have treated, lysine works beautifully. It's 1 gram a day for an acute flare-up. 1,000 milligrams, that's a lot. And 250 milligrams a day for maintenance. The nice thing about lysine, it's hardly got any taste, maybe a little salty at the outside. You can get lysine capsules at the health food store, open it up, mix it in the food, you're all set. Cherry eye is a peculiarity of dogs, because I'm not entirely cat-centric. It's inflammation of the third eyelid. You know that third eyelid, the little membrane that comes up over the eye. It can get very inflamed. And the treatment is cool compress. Most people will take the dog to the vet immediately. It's not an emergency, but I saw something online as I was researching this, and somebody actually tried massaging the third eye gently, of course, with the lids closed, and from the outside in to try and get the fluid to drain out of the conjunctiva there. So certainly worth a try. It's not an emergency. It's not even that uncomfortable, we don't think, although, they can't exactly, leave us a text message or something about it if it hurts, but we don't think it hurts. Repeat offenders, they can do surgery to remove the third eyelid or do some other fancy ophthalmological thing. But try the compresses, try and manage it without surgery would be best. Eyelash disorders are really interesting. Eyelashes can do all kinds of weird things. Distichia is where an eyelash grows in the wrong direction or grows from over here or grows from here. They can do very bizarre things. That's a little uncommon. The remedy for that is to pull the eyelash. You don't want to try that at home, of course. That needs sedation. Entropion is rolling in of the eyelids. And I actually saw this in quite a lot of cats, but it's very common in dogs. Ectropion means going in. Ectropion is going out. So, that's a breed feature of many, many dogs. Ectropion, unless it's really severe and causing conjunctivitis, we don't worry about that. Entropion requires surgery. And what they do is it's like an eyelid tuck. They take a little slice out of the eyelid and sew it so it pulls that eyelid out. I've done it. It's not a hard surgery, and the results are quite remarkable. Lumps and bumps, of course. We've all seen lumps and bumps. We get styes, we get cysts, blocked glands can be problematic. There's all kinds of, there's tear glands, there's sweat glands, there's a variety of glands, and if they get blocked, they'll swell up. Papillomavirus is a really horrendous thing to see in a dog, and it causes these kind of little things, but zillions of them. It's really distressing, and that is something that modern medicine does not have an answer for. So homeopathy would be my first go-to for that. Of course, there's tumors. This is a melanoma. That is a bad thing. But nothing is an emergency. These things don't exactly blow up overnight. You can try a variety of things. But if it's uncomfortable, if it's causing conjunctivitis, causing squinting or obvious pain, of course, we want to do something about that right away.